there were a couple trips because we're in LA. There were a couple trips to LA that seemed memorable. Let's start off with the most innocent one. That was when you went to Disneyland, but you were at the Chateau and it was
Yeah.
Grammy week. And so
Yeah.
what were your first experience? Was that your first experience with like the industry or like to learn
Well,
about
yeah,
what?
I mean, that was my first experience with the big industry, because I had been exposed to all sorts of folky people coming into our house with their banjos and their mandolins and their weirdness and their kind of uh, uh, sweet whatever. And then, but of course, I was listening to Cyndi Lauper and the Eurythmics and Prince, and that's what I was listening to. And so to then be kind of, when you're a kid and you kind of only half understand what's happening. You're like, okay, we're gonna go to LA, that's gonna be fun, we're gonna go. And then you get there and you're like, oh my god, it's real. And for being from Montreal, it's a big it looks very different, let's say. And it was just, you know, what I remember is seeing how kind of happy and excited my mother was to be there too, and to be in that space and to feel among her people in a way, in terms of just people in the industry. And I think that's really meaningful. And I know that feeling where you want to, you get there to the festival and you want to feel part of it, and you want your
Mm,
kids to know that you're a part of it too, but then
yeah.
seeing Cyndi Lauper in the hot tub, very nervously wondering if she's going to get the award. I remember distinctly seeing Annie Lennox come into the Chateau Marmont, into the vestibule area, and it was just kind of very overwhelming for me. And I was just, um, I mean, I think clearly Rufus got the bug because he ended up moving to LA when he was 21 or something. I mean, that's really been his musical home is Los Angeles since the beginning, through Van Dyke Parks and Lenny Waronker at DreamWorks originally. So that was, I think he must have clocked that early on, for him. Um, and I ended up going more to New York when I was 21. But it's such a magical, when I was going to title the chapters, I didn't end up titling them because I had titles for some and then titles for others, and I was coming up with these crappy titles. So I was like, let's just not title them. But I did have a chapter called I Love LA because I just always adored it. And maybe it's because I didn't, um, I wasn't exposed. I got to be right away exposed to kind of the greatness of it. So, going there for a Grammy week, and then
Yeah.
going there and hanging out at Stephen Still's house, but then going to Huntington Gardens and then hanging out with some really kind of groovy people in Echo Park and Silver Lake, like in the late 90s, and, seeing different aspects of it that wasn't just sort of only Hollywood Boulevard. That didn't really, that never, I never felt that. And I also because I was never really in the film industry, I was only connected to the music industry and the kind of more sort of a grittier, artier side of it. I always just adored it and still do.
Mm.